Will crossed his feet on the grass, the past prisoner staring at him as he put his hands up to his head. "Alos? Alos, please respond." Will chanted faintly to himself, a small orb rising above his head. We gave him a minute, myself seeing the pure concentration in Will before a gust of wind threw him off, the orb returning to his body. Will pounded his fists into the ground and looked at everyone around him. "Nibbit, it might be best to get these people out of here," I said to the small teddy bear. Nibbit nodded his head, then looked around at the group. "Follow," he commanded, and started walking away, pushing down the brush to carve his own trail. The creatures started to follow, one after another until one was left standing. I instantly recognized the figure, the girl I had been entrapped next to. She smiled at me as I stood next to Will. "It's not going to be safe here with us. Haida will be looking," I said before she interrupted. "I'm not here for you." She then walked closer, dropping down to Will's level, saying, "Thank you for your bravery. I hope you kill that monster." She then laid her arm around Will before rising again, saying to me, "You keep him safe." I nodded, replying, "I'll try my best." Then watching her as she took off down the trail behind Nibbit. Once she had left our view, Will grunted, then rolled in the ground, crying, "Why won't Alos respond?" I looked at him, my brother reminding me of a crying baby, one that reminded of Miss Anderson's back when I babysit in Oregon. "We need to go. We need to get out of here. I can almost guarantee Haida is looking for us. If not him, then the guards." I tried connivingly. "Good. If Haida comes, I can kill him, just like he killed Dip." Will yelled in pain, then started to cry. I knelt down beside him again. "It's not on you. You didn't kill him." I repeated to him, trying my best to calm him down. "Quiet." Will backed at me. He then tried standing up, wobbling around on both legs after he stood and took a few steps before falling again, then rolling over on his back in the grass. I moved next to him, myself on my back as well, looking up to the sky, which was a mix of a rosy red and dark, violent streaks of purple. "Dip would have wanted you to continue this battle," I said to him. "I don't know if I'm stronger. What if I can't beat him or Gallon?" Will said back to me, "You can, and you will. You knocked over Haida when we were in the castle. You were able to free me and so many other from that Fisco. You get another fight with him, and you will. I promise you will win. I know it." I hyped him up. Will chuckled, saying, "Let's go home then." Opening the portal and allowing myself to walk through, Will right behind me. My eyes took a second to get used to the light. There I noticed a couple of green large dumpsters, a castaway shopping cart, and a couple of boxes some local stray cats had taken over as a home. "We are behind Tanner's," I said now, seeing Will come through the portal. "Why did you put us behind a grocery store?" I asked him. He now looked around, verifying the location and replying, "I don't know. I tried going to our home, but I had a bad feeling about it." I shook my head, knowing we would have a half-mile walk back before we could see our home. We started on our way, entering the tail end of the trailer park on the backside, 2 empty police cars situated on the sides of the road. "Interesting," I said, knowing that while it was never impossible, it was rare to see police in the neighborhood, specifically at the front gate instead of someone's house. We continued to walk through. The trailer park cleared of any life, no residents being spotted. Even Mary, the 80-year-old grandma who was constantly taking care of her garden out front, was absent. "You said you had a bad feeling about opening the portal to our home?" I asked Will again. "Yeah, like my powers didn't want me to open it on our home. Just be somewhere safe," Will replied. "So, in the back of a supermarket, at least no one would know we are back," I said back, now coming up to a barrier of police tape. The police tape started nearly 50 yards from our home behind another trailer, and I could see it with a skewed view of trees and trailers. I then started to walk along the police tape barrier, getting a better picture. Now I could see our home, surrounded by 3 police vehicles and officers with their backs faced to the trailer. They are protecting it. Why? I told, then asked Will. Will shook his head. They might have finally caught up to us from Oregon. Will replied. I then felt like I got punched in the gut. Shit, I said, then staring back at the trailer. Moments later, 2 men with suits on walked out of the trailer. On their chests were small but recognizable badges. FBI, they know we live here, I confirmed to myself and Will. What's the move now? Will asked me. I shuddered down to the ground, my knees nearly touching my armpits as I thought of what to do next. Hannah's house is a couple miles away, we can walk there. I proposed to Will. It's 3 miles away, ayy. He moaned as I now stood up. Unless you want to force our way home, that's our best bet. I replied back to him, Will nodding in agreement as we turned around and left. We arrived at Hannah's house 30 minutes later, myself and Will doing our best to keep a low profile as we traveled. When we arrived, we saw Hannah outside, babysitting her 7-year-old brother Jacob. I had met a few times as we dated. We watched them as we approached. Hannah focused on rebounding for Jacob as he shot the basketball 20 feet away. Hannah then looked afar, seeing us and missing the rebound that bonked against her head. She didn't seem to care, running down the street at us and giving me a hug once she could reach. I gripped her too, her soft figure a place I could melt into, feeling safe again. We have to go inside now, we can't let anyone see you, she said, now pulling on me and glancing at Will, adding, let's go. She escorted us inside, pushing against us through the backside of the home, avoiding her parents, who I could hear in the kitchen. She then herded me and Will upstairs, a curious Jacob following us into her room. Get out, she said to him when he entered. But we were hanging out. Jacob complained to her. Just get out, she said again, this time Jacob leaving the room. As he closed the door, Hannah said again, don't tell people about this, no one. Then watched as the brother closed the door. Where were you 2 at? And where's Dip? She asked us. I replied back, Loca, like a mirror of Earth where these creatures come from. I replied back. Okay, and where's Dip? She repeated. He's dead, Will said sickeningly, then folded his arms and stomped his foot. It wasn't your fault, I assured him, reaching out and holding his shoulder. He brushed it off quickly, then moved to the wall of the room, sliding down and putting his head into his knees on the ground. He's upset how it happened, but we escaped because of Dip's sacrifice. He died a hero. I said to Hannah, I'm sorry, she replied, now looking down at Will. I'm sorry about Dip, she again said, then walking over to Will and giving him a hug on the ground. Will stood there like a statue as I continued saying, we need to come up with a plan. We have someone named Haida and Gallon coming to Earth. Who are they? She asked me. Assholes, Will said. People that rule Loca, the secondary world, like dictators. They are looking for Will. They want his power. I explained to Hannah, like what you did to that bat. She said to Will, Hannah, sweetie, you have heard the news? Hannah's mom called out from upstairs. She walked over to the door, opening it up to peep out her head and called downstairs. What news? The city is going on a lockdown. We are getting reports of spiders or something in the downtown area. Thanks for bringing in Jacob, and just to be sure, you're not leaving, correct? Hannah's mom explained. No, I'm not, Hannah called back. Very good. Hannah's mom ended the conversation. Spiders, what the fuck? Hannah said as she turned around back to us and closed the door. She then went to her bedside table, grabbing the black remote and turning on the TV. She switched channels, taking an amusing amount of time to find the news, but then watched the news anchor on the TV. He was dressed in a suit, positioned behind the river in downtown Omaha, declaring, "We have had an influx of reports of spider-like creatures scouring the streets. No attacks have been confirmed, but the spiders appear to be about 3 to 4 feet tall, about the size of a large dog. Police have told all Omaha residents to stay indoors and be prepared to fight against these invasive species. Special forces have already been called and traveling to state to help eliminate these creatures." A photo then pulled up of the spider, the building behind it being a local ice cream shop I had taken Hannah to on a date a few months back. An hour passes as we all try to relax and come up with a plan. During this time, we hear something creak along the side of the house. I look at the window, seeing the bushy legs and the circular body of a spider outside Hannah's window. Hannah screams as we all step to the other side of the room, unsure of what to do. The spider glides against the window, now positioning itself with its eyes staring at Will. Haida sent these things. They are looking for Will, I said as another one in the distance was crawling across the yard. A scream from downstairs, undeniable to be Hannah's mom, confirmed that we were not seeing things. "What do we do?" we all said in a panic, then Will saying, "Open the window." I looked at Will like he was crazy, with both spiders now just outside the window staring at him. "They can communicate with others we are here, like a hive mind. We are going to get swarmed if these things come," Will explained. "No, it's too late then. It already attracted one. It's soon going to attract more. They are probably on their way," Hannah said. "We have no other places to go." I told Hannah, adding, "We have to defend this place. Will you have the strength? You can do it." "Someone called about you two, and Dip. They said they wanted to meet," Hannah said. "You're telling us this now?" I asked her. "I didn't know who it was." She replied, Will then saying, "Fine, let's get out of the house. Bring these guys away from your family." Hannah nodded, saying, "We can take my car. It's parked in the garage." We galloped down the steps into the garage, not understanding Hannah's mom, who was calling her from the back of the house. The garage door opened slowly, Will exiting outside and staring at the spiders who stared back at him, then running over. Will put out his hand, rising both of the spiders, flattening the 8 legs and ripping them off the sides of its body, the ball of the body bouncing once it hit the ground. "That disgusting," Hannah said as she rolled the window down, pulling the car out of the garage. Will got in a moment later, seeing a third spider run across the yard. He put his hand out, shooting a spear-like energy object from his hand and slicing the creature. "Not gross," Will said to Hannah as she went down the road. They get to the motel 20 minutes later on the outskirts of Omaha. I had never visited the area before, myself seeing a couple bricked houses with unkept yards and the motel not being in much better shape. We went up the stairs knocking on room 16. Man answered, myself instantly recognizing him. Trey Bennett, Dip's older partner. "Good to meet you, Nick," he said, shaking my hand, then precedingly Nick's and Hannah's. They walk inside the motel, the inside being a bit smelly from how unkept the room had been, but had Trey's bag on the bed wrapped around plastic wrap. "It's not the nicest place, but it's a good cover," Trey said now, going to the radio that was running police comms. "So where's Dip?" Trey then asked, "He died. He saved us from Loka, the parallel world where these creatures are coming from." Trey nodded his head softly. "Before he recruited you, we had spent years killing those creatures that had come from that hell. The only one I ever liked was Alos," Trey stated. I nodded as the radio started to be filled with chatter. "We have a fire going on in the trailer park. An unknown figure is shooting flames out of his hands." The dispatcher went on the radio. "Multiple spiders have also been spotted in the area. Backup is requested immediately." I looked over at Will, who had curled his hand into a fist. "Haida," he yelled at the radio. "You all know who that is?" Trey asked, Yes, we captured me and brought me to Loka. He's looking for Will. He's the one who killed Dip. I explained to Trey. Trey nods, asking, "Do we think Will has the strength to beat him?" I looked over at my brother, seeing the rage start to build inside. Eventually, I replied, "Yes, I do.